One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.
Having sport facilitator responsibility or sport oversight, I think for many senior leaders seems to be something you believe that needs to be on your resume to become an AD one day, right? You need to have the experience of aiding a head coach and his or her staff in moving a program forward. Is there any way for senior leaders or aspiring leaders to replicate that experience, or is it simply you learn as you go?
I think it's really hard sometimes. It's almost when an assistant coach, a longtime assistant coach, becomes the head coach, and then all of a sudden they're in charge of so many more responsibilities. It's different, and I don't think you can prepare somebody for that move, just like going from an associate athletic director into an athletic director role. And that's why I'm a firm believer as an athletic director that we need to provide as much real-life experience as possible, and that's why I give such responsibility to our senior staff members when they take on a sport and have that oversight and really hold them accountable. And like I always say, it's an interesting job sometimes that we have as athletic directors, we have responsibility for everything and control over nothing. And it's a funny statement, but when you think about it is we don't coach and we don't play, but when something goes wrong in those areas, you're the one that's responsible for it.
Is there a particular sport, in your view, that might be the easier place for aspiring administrators to start? Maybe it's a tennis, and I'm thinking the moving parts of number of student athletes, number of coaching staff to deal with, size of budget potentially. I mean, transparently could be a reason. Is there a specific sport that maybe comes to mind for you that goes, yeah, this would be a good place to start wrapping your mind and being the first sport you facilitate in your career track?
Certainly. We look at some of our young, new senior administrators. We look at a non-revenue sport. As you mentioned, it might be a tennis, it might be a golf, it might be a track and field. I think it's very important to at least have people have something smaller so they can get their feet wet and have success. You want to ensure they have success as part of their sport oversight responsibility. I think it would be really unfair to throw somebody into overseeing football or men's basketball, for example, because those are big, visible sports. So a lot of it depends on the visibility. Your premier sports, football, in our case, men's basketball, are certainly very visible. I think you would do a disservice to your young employees if you ever gave them that responsibility immediately. So having that stepping stone, doing those smaller non-revenue sports first is really, really important. And then you're going to see how they handle that, how they've handled some of the issues that come up in those sports. And then when the opportunity comes to give them more responsibility, you can always look back and see how they've progressed.
How do you handle the situation, I assume you have in your 14 years of athletic director leadership, when you want to transition some of your administrators around, and maybe you're introducing a new associate AD who has earned the right to oversee a program? How do you handle that conversation of somebody changing oversight or facilitation of a particular program?
I think you always present it as an opportunity for them to grow and change and have the opportunity to be involved in different levels in different sports and working with different genders and different revenue sports. A lot depends on the skill set of the employee. We've had certain individuals that have come that we've interviewed, that we've hired for senior level positions, and as part of the negotiation process, they will want to have sport oversight responsibility and influence. And again, it's based on their skill set. I think that's the number one thing, is evaluating employees and identifying their strengths. Where are their strengths, and how do you put them on the right seat on the bus to maximize their strengths? And I think that has a lot, at least in my opinion, and how I would position people in my organization to assume sport oversight is, how capable are they? Is it the right fit? Do they have the demeanor? Can they work with that head coach? I mean, the last thing you want to do is have a sport liaison that's going to have some kind of a conflict with the head coach. So I think all those things come into play when you're evaluating who your sport oversight individuals would be and what sports they will be responsible for.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.